One second you're seeing one man, and then the next time you meet him, it's like you're talking to a different person. There's no blood flow in his face anymore. There's no luster in his eyes anymore. His voice, all these different things, boom, gone, shift. I do want to keep it honest with you guys. This practice is not a joke, man. This energy, playing with this energy, it's not a joke. It becomes a responsibility at a certain point. You know what I mean? This energy, you start cultivating it, you start, getting the people around you used to it. They're getting used to the new you, right? Really, the true you. In this case, for most people, who haven't been rotating for the majority of their lives, they've been involved in degenerate habits for a long time. In that case, the new you. After a while of semen retention, people get accustomed to your frequency, right? To where, again, it becomes a responsibility. Your coworkers, your friends, women, right? Your girlfriend, given enough time around your new frequency, they get used to it. So when you inevitably relapse, because it's normal, right? It happens in the beginning to most of us. When you do relapse, it kind of throws these people off. When it comes to your family now, okay, cool, you can get away with relapsing around family members. They're still gonna love you, right? But from a professional standpoint, you got hired on a 30-day streak, on a 60-day streak. You got hired on a long streak, right? Then you go a couple weeks, couple months, job is going well, everything's doing well. And you have a phase where, something happens and, your mind is still sexualized and you do the thing, right? You launch the porn websites, you go through the motions, and then you relapse from PMO. Next thing you know, you go back to work and it's not the same. Your boss, who was out here friendly with you, right? Sometimes showing you favoritism, all of a sudden, he's cold. Like, what changed? You know what I mean? What changed? But this is even worse if your boss is a woman, but we'll get into that later, right? The you that they were comfortable with, right? Now you show up and they don't recognize you, right? Nothing, the words, your charisma, your personality isn't hidden the same. And as you guys understand, a big part of your personality, your charisma, it's your life force, right? It's what animates, everything that you do, right? The way you speak, your electromagnetic field, how people feel around you. It affects all these things, right? So from a professional standpoint, you're out here around, really strangers. Again, you guys meet, there's a meeting of the minds for one thing in common, or whatever it is that you do for work together, construction, sales, office work, I don't care. Whatever it is that you guys do together, they get used to a certain version of you. So playing with this energy, it's kind of dangerous, right? Because if you don't plan on really taking the practice serious, you're gonna have a lot of unfortunate things happening around you, right? Because you're sending people and really things, the universe, you're sending mixed signals. 1 second up, 1 second down, 1 second here, 1 second there. You're throwing things off. And this isn't good. And this is something that I don't think a lot of guys think about, especially in the beginning of their journey. You're unconsciously throwing people off. And 1 second they're acting one way, the next second they're acting, another way. So the energy crash, it affects you more than you think. It's affecting your personal life, it's affecting your work life, and of course, brother, it's affecting you spiritually, right? Your powers are gone, man. Your spiritual senses, the metaphysical things that go on in your life, they're gone. So it's a three-front energy crash. One thing that I've noticed, and I'll speak on my personal observation, guys, when I was relapsing and I was in that phase, I noticed it started off at the house, right? When I was younger, it started off at the house. My mother would always pick up on my energy shift every time. I could be on a long streak and my interactions with her, they were organic, they were smooth. It was different. When I relapsed, I noticed that she found a way to find anything and everything wrong with me or what I'm doing or my, the job that I had, this. From a bird's eye view, things could have been going very well for me. It's raining right now, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see it, but things could have been going very well for me. But because my energy is off, she found a way to make it a big deal, right? It was a problem. Problems like the stupidest things, you know. I don't like how you're wearing that, right? Or maybe you should look for a different job when I'm doing very well at my job. You know what I mean? It's just the dumbest shit. She would come up with the dumbest shit. Then I go on my streak. The things that were of concern back when I just relapsed, she doesn't care about it anymore. And this leads me to telling you guys this. I've noticed this, now it's past my mom. Women notice these shifts more than men. Those of you guys who are in school right now, you're in college, high school, you'll notice this because you guys are in college. You know, these are little towns full of, you know, it's not normal. It's not the real world. You have young women and young men in one little location. You're getting a skewed perception of things. So use that to your advantage right now. Look how quick the women around you shift after a relapse, right? Even the girls who you're friends with, right? Some of you guys have female friends. Even the girls that you're friends with, right? Look how your interactions shift with them. You know, they might want to hang out with you on a streak, then you relapse, and all of a sudden, the ones who are usually down to, you know, they always want to be around you, all of a sudden they don't want to be around you anymore, right? Or they're finding excuses, you know, other things come up. And one thing that I noticed that was reliable is the fact that guys would always be there for you, in the sense that they're probably doing the same shit. Most young men, most men, they have no control over their sexual energy. So they're probably doing the same shit. So the guys, there wasn't really a frequency mismatch, right? You're done doing your PMO, you're done doing that nasty shit. The guys, they take you back in, right? Because odds are good they're doing the same things, right? So the frequency mismatch wasn't that big of a deal there. But it's the women who the shift, it was always obvious with them, right? And I've mentioned this before in numerous of my videos. Women are literally signals. They literally tell you when you're doing something right versus when you're doing something wrong. They literally tell you this, you know, when you get your money right, women come. When you've got your body right, women come. When your energy is right, women come. It's undeniable, right? It's undeniable. And I don't mean to speak about this from an attraction standpoint. We don't care about that. Attraction's cool, it happens. That's a natural thing of life. But women literally tell you as a man when you're doing something correct. And if you're someone who's got self-control, you can align with them just for that reason. You know, they let you know when shit is off. But naturally speaking, you know, the genders are not equal. And to make things kind of even, in a sense, right, nature equipped them with a different type of sense. So they have to pick up on danger or weird vibes, even the low frequency ones. And this is where I'm going to tell you guys this. Some of you guys might be asking, okay, what if a woman does PMO herself? What if she watches porn herself? Women and their frequency, it comes intact, right? They come intact with their energy, right? Men have to cultivate theirs. Women come intact. That's why you guys can see some women who don't have they don't do the best things. They're still partying. Their diet isn't right. But there are times where you see them with a glow in their eyes, right? They're magnetic, right? They're attractive. Again, their menstrual cycle has to do with that. You know, they could be ovulating, for example. All this plays a factor, right? All this plays a factor. But women come here with their frequency intact. And by being degenerate and making bad life choices, over time, they can lose that frequency. Versus men, well, you have to cultivate that frequency, right? You have to, that's why semen retention, you know, it's not really an option. You know, I talk about this stuff on the channel, and I'm here to motivate you guys to see things for yourself. I feel like a salesman sometimes, but it's like me, I shouldn't have to sell someone on, like, it's like me trying to convince you to go pee, you know what I mean? You know you gotta do it. It happens, it's a natural function, but hey, it is what it is. This is one of those things where you have to cultivate your energy. You have to do this. If not, you're going to be on a different timeline, right? You can either make it easy and be on a timeline where everything happens for you, right? Everything's smooth. Right, the metaphysical, the spiritual, the emotional, everything's smooth, everything happens organically. Or you can make things hard and be on a different timeline where hiccups, headache, this and that, things that should be easy, well, they're gonna be hard. This stuff is not a joke, man. So you guys are playing with fire, right? Not getting past that relapse phase, not figuring things out as soon as you can, not working on desexualizing your mind ASAP. There are more consequences to it than you think. But use what I'm telling you, you know, go out and observe this. You know what I mean? If you don't believe what I'm saying, get on a streak, Go around a specific woman, get off the streak, and see how she switches up, okay? Now go hang around with your guy friends who you know are doing the same shit, and notice how everything's cool and the same with them, right? If anything, those of you guys going on a streak and then relapsing and then going back to those same friends, those friends are gonna be more comfortable around you now, right? Because you brought your energy back down. They're gonna welcome you with open arms, right? But the women, oh man, something's off about this motherfucker. I don't want to talk to him today. Something's weird. He's weird today, right? that's what's gonna be going on in their mind. This stuff is not a joke. The clues are everywhere, brother. Why should you be on retention? You know, why should you be doing this? Again, this is something that should be the default for men, but society has made it so to where, you know, now it's something that we have to work on, or we have to build, right? This should be your natural state. Assuming you're not looking to procreate or have a child, this should be your natural state. The energy crash that you're going to experience during the relapse cycle is very, very dangerous. And those of you guys who've been on the practice for a while, as you go longer and longer, I tell you guys this, you've heard me say this before, your punishments, right? The consequences, the metaphysical consequences, how the universe treats you is going to be harsher, right? It's one thing to be ignorant to certain things, and it's another thing to be knowledgeable about certain things and still choosing to make dumb decisions. You know what I mean? When you were naive, you remember how things seemed like, okay, you made a mistake, you weren't conscious about it, but the consequences weren't as bad. Now that you're starting to be aware of things, you're seeing patterns, you're seeing what's really going on right behind the veil. Now you're starting to see how, you know, the effects of you making those mistakes are greater now, right? They're harsher, right? The universe is harsher on you. And guys, reiterating what I was talking about in the beginning, one of the craziest things to me, man, is when I come across you know, certain individuals who I know they're in the practice. You know, I've got a lot of young guys in my reality who, you know, I've talked to them about retention. They've come to me, and one thing led to another, and they actually start the practice, and you know, their energy is different. Then I see them on a different day, and it's like I'm looking at a whole different person, right? Most men, they're not constants, right? One second you're seeing one man, and then the next time you meet him, it's like you're talking to a different person. Yeah, he looks the same, right? His vessel looks the same, but there's no blood flow in his face anymore. There's no luster in his eyes anymore. His voice, right? Even if your voice isn't deep on semen retention, there's a certain frequency or vibration that you just hear it in people's voices during this practice. Again, not everyone's gonna have like a completely low voice on semen retention, but all your voices will change. All these different things, boom, gone, shift. It's part of that energy crash. Everything changes, right? It is a massive shift, and whether you like it or not, people, men and women, sense it. But specifically women, they know, they sense it a mile away. It's not a joke. And I gotta clean you guys up 1 second. You know, I'm out here, it's like raining, then it's mist. You know, but it's really bipolar, but I don't think it wants to rain, so we're staying out here. But going back to what I was saying, guys, this is a responsibility, man. You owe it to yourself to try to come and present yourself the same way every single time. You guys heard my first story, right? It's got nothing to do with what you look like. It's got nothing to do with how you're dressing. It's frequency. You guys could have been working on a project and putting your energy in it. And one little shift in energy in the people around you who are part of that project, now people are turning on you, you know, the frequency that they were used to, the person who they recognize, right? The energy that they were familiar with, it's gone, and it's not. Now everything that you're doing, saying, it could objectively be good. You could be doing the same type of work. Everything looks apart, but again, that it factor that was a part of the project is not there anymore. Now they're giving you attitude. Now they don't want to work with you anymore. It's different. I'm not here trying to attack anyone. I understand it's a journey, it's a phase. But the sooner you guys can get out of this 2-3 weeks in relapse cycle, 30 days in relapse cycle, the better. You know, 2-3 weeks, sure, your energy is different, it's rising, but it's not so far out to where people feel like you're out of reach, right? I tell you guys this all the time, but you go 6 months, 9 months, a year, you can't afford to relapse like that, because again, that's a long time. That's a significant amount of time, right? We can agree on that. So people get used to that. They get used to your energy at that point. So when they see you, that's the energy that's expected of you, right? Again, this is even more so when you guys go on longer streaks. Your parents, your family, your friends, your girlfriend, right? Your wife. That's what's expected of you. And these shifts, you know, they tolerate it less. The consequences become much, much harsher. Pay attention to these things. You know, the women around you, it doesn't matter if they're doing PMO themselves. It doesn't matter if they're watching porn. It doesn't matter if they're smoking, drinking. They're all gonna act different around you. They're gonna let you know that something's off with your energy every single time. Because again, that's the game. That's just how nature has it. They come here with their energy intact, and you've got to cultivate yours. And by the way, if you work somewhere where your boss is a woman, or you know, the human resources department, if the majority of the people working there are women, good luck, man. Because you start relapsing, you come in that job a certain way and you relapse, they won't know why they want to get rid of you. You know what I mean? Yeah, Jackson, man, we thought he was cool. There was something different about him, but something's off. Yeah, we let him go, get rid of him. That's how it happens, you know.